If you think Zebulon is just a quiet little town east of Raleigh with nothing going on, you may be overlooking one of the biggest opportunities in the Triangle right now. Zebulon is changing fast. New neighborhoods are popping up, more people are moving east for affordability, and buyers are starting to realize they can still get a lot more house, a lot more land, and a slower pace of life here, which is really nice, than they can in many other parts of Wake County. But there's also trade-offs, and in this video we're going to talk about both. We're going to cover what it is really like living in Zebulon and the pros and cons in 2026. We're going to talk about the housing market, the commute times, neighborhoods people aren't talking about yet, local restaurants, parks, entertainment, and why some buyers are moving here while others decide it's not for them. And stick around until the end, because one of Zebulon's biggest strengths could also end up being one of its biggest drawbacks depending on your lifestyle. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe, because we talk about living in Raleigh, the Triangle suburbs, and how to avoid the costly mistakes people make when relocating, because our family and I relocated here over 8 years ago sight unseen. And that's why we put out these videos every week. One of the biggest reasons buyers are paying attention to Zebulon right now is because it feels attainable. In a lot of Raleigh suburbs, buyers are feeling the squeeze. They're getting less house, less land, and much higher monthly payments. Zebulon is one of the few places left where many people still feel like they can breathe financially. The median home price in Zebulon is still sitting well below places like Cary, Apex, and North Raleigh. Depending on whether you're looking at sold prices or active listings, most homes in Zebulon are landing somewhere between the low 300s and the high 300s. That means buyers can often get a newer house, a larger lot, and more space between neighbors without stretching their budgets quite as far. But one thing that makes Zebulon different from a lot of other suburbs is the variety. You can still find smaller starter homes, older homes with larger yards, neighborhoods with amenities, and even some higher end communities that surprise a lot of people. The first community is Weaver Pond, and it's one of those neighborhoods that people are starting to notice because it gives buyers that established neighborhood feel with amenities and mature landscaping. Homes there have a median home price of $365,000, which still feels relatively affordable compared to a lot of the western side of the Triangle. Now, Whitley Crossing is another community that's catching attention. It's one of the more affordable new construction options in the area. Now, to be straight, Whitley is on the border of Zebulon and officially listed as Middlesex, but it's right near Zebulon. The median home price for Whitley Crossing is $348,900, and it appeals to buyers who want a brand new house but still need to stay mindful of those monthly payments. Then you have places like, I love it, Cattail, which is a completely different side of the Zebulon market. Cattail is a lake community with larger home sites, custom homes, and higher end finishes that are beautiful. The median home price in Cattail is of course a lot larger at $824,700. Now, what do you get for that? Some of the homes there can easily reach well over $1 million, which surprises a lot of people because most buyers do not think of Zebulon as luxury communities. But this community is absolutely incredible. With an 80-acre stock lake with 2.6 miles of scenic shoreline. There's going to be a community pool to overlook the lake with a beautiful clubhouse designed like a cabin for social gatherings. There's going to be a pavilion that'll have a 180-degree beautiful view of the lake. You're also going to have a playground and pet-friendly areas. And like that's not enough, you're also going to have patios with fire pits, outdoor fireplaces, and walking and golf cart paths, or as I call it, GCL, or golf cart life, which I love. This is luxury living. That's one of the things that makes Zebulon interesting in 2026. You have a much larger range of options than people realize. You have to wonder why someone's pouring in hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars into Cattail and Zebulon unless something big is happening that we don't know. And if this sounds interesting to you, check in the description box for a free buyer and seller relocation guide that'll help make your relocation process to Zebulon stress-free. So another major pro for Zebulon is a slower pace of life. Zebulon still feels like a small town. You have local businesses, local restaurants, community events, and neighborhoods where people actually know their neighbors. And if you're coming from a larger city or even a more crowded Raleigh suburb, that slower, quieter feel can be a huge relief. Downtown Zebulon has started to add more local spots that give the town some personality. One of the best parts, Old Raleigh Distillery, is one of the coolest examples. Most people would never expect a town like Zebulon to have a distillery that won the best micro distillery in the whole world in 2023. But it did. That gives the town a unique point of pride and something different that you're not going to find in every suburb. Another fun place is Norse Brewing, and it's another important local hangout with outdoor seating and more of a social atmosphere. Creative Cup is a great local coffee shop which Brandy, Lorraine, and I love. You also have McLean's Old Time Cafe, which is still a go-to for comfort food. And Southland Steakhouse, which is one of our family's faves, that is one of the more popular places for a nicer dinner without driving into Raleigh. At the same time, one of the biggest cons of Zebulon is that it still does not have nearly the same amount of shopping, dining, or entertainment as some of the other suburbs. You're not going to have a Trader Joe's, Costco, or a huge shopping center only 5 minutes away. Most people still drive into Wendell, Knightdale, or Raleigh when they want more restaurant choices, more shopping, or bigger grocery stores. The good news is that if you want a Publix, Target, Walmart, they're all in Wendell and Knightdale. And for some people, it's not a big deal because they would rather drive a little farther and save a lot more money on housing. But for other people, that lack of convenience can become frustrating over time. The commute is another big challenge where people need to be realistic. On paper, Zebulon looks close enough to Raleigh to be an easy commute, and technically, it is. But traffic on 264 during rush hour can be a little rough. If you're commuting into Raleigh in the morning or coming back east in the afternoon, that drive can feel a lot longer than it looks on the map. That is especially true if you're working in the RTP, Durham, or anywhere on the west side of the Triangle. Sometimes a commute that looks manageable at first glance can quickly become exhausting if you're not doing it every single day. So if location and commute times are a major priority for you, this is something you definitely need to think thoroughly and carefully and check it out during rush hour when you're visiting the next time you're here. Now, if you're someone who values parks, green space, and family activities, Zebulon actually has more going for it than people realize. Zebulon Community Park with 47.5 acres is one of the highlights with sports fields, trails, playgrounds, basketball courts, and I love it, disc golf. It's the kind of place families actually use on a regular basis. Now, Whitley Park gives you another option for tennis, playgrounds, and outdoor space, while Little River Park offers a quieter feel with trails, hammocks, and access to the river, which is super fun. Zebulon also does a really good job with community events. One of their big ones, Rock the Block, is awesome. They also have the Farm Fresh Farmers Market from May through October, local food trucks, seasonal festivals, family movie nights, and the summer concert series helps give the town a stronger sense of community to some of the bigger suburbs. It feels more personal here. One of the newest things adding energy to Zebulon in 2026 is the new Zebulon Devil Dogs baseball team. With that gives the town something fun and unique that people can rally around, especially during the summertime. With the games happening at 5 County Stadium, it gives families another local activity, and it helps Zebulon feel like more than just a place where people sleep before driving somewhere else. Another thing that stands out about Zebulon is that there are still areas nearby that have not even been talked about nearly as much as some of the bigger name communities. Places around the areas between Zebulon and Middlesex are starting to get a lot more attention from buyers who want more land, more privacy, and a little more breathing room without being too far from Raleigh. Those are the type of areas you may find larger lots, homes with workshops or detached garage, which a lot of our clients love, and the neighborhoods that feel more tucked away. They're not places that most relocation videos talk about, but for the right buyer, they can end up being exactly what they're looking for. When it comes to the Zebulon housing market in 2026, buyers need to understand and know that strategy matters more than ever. Some homes are still selling very quickly, especially updated homes in good neighborhoods and ones that are move-in ready or new construction. The median days on market, which is how many days from when someone actually puts the home sold till it actually sells, and the median days on market here are only 16 days. But buyers actually have more leverage than they did a few years ago with a much more balanced market than the COVID times. There are more opportunities now for builder incentives, rate buy downs, closing cost assistance, and negotiation on the price. That means if you know where to look and how to position yourself, you can get a much better deal than you could have a couple of years ago. For sellers, it also means pricing correctly, which matters more than ever. Homes that are priced too aggressively are sitting longer, especially in areas with a lot of competition with new construction. So whether you're buying or selling, having a strategy in this market is becoming much more important than it has in a long time. And at the end of the day, Zebulon is not for everyone. If you want to be close to every convenience, every restaurant, and every shopping center, there are probably better fits in the Triangle for you that we can put you in. But if you want more home for your money, a slower pace of life, more land, more privacy, in a town that actually feels like a community, Zebulon deserves a serious look. My family and I moved here 8 years ago from Southern California, sight unseen, so we know exactly how overwhelming it can feel trying to figure out where to live when you're not familiar with the area. That's why we make these videos and became real estate brokers. We want to help you understand the trade-offs, avoid the mistakes, and figure out which area fits your lifestyle. And if you're thinking about moving to Zebulon, Raleigh, or anywhere in the Triangle, reach out to us. We would love to help. My number is right here on the screen. Call, text, or email us anytime. And if you're still in research mode, no pressure. Do yourself a favor and grab a copy of our free buyer and seller relocation guide in the description box. And please subscribe to the channel. We put out these videos every week about new communities, school, safety, restaurants, and so much more. Also, check out our sister channel, Life in Raleigh NC, for hundreds more videos about even more cities and new developments in the Triangle and so much more. And let me know in the comments box, would you rather have more land and a lower payment like Zebulon, or would you rather pay a little bit more to be closer to Raleigh and all the conveniences? And until next time, I'll catch you on the next video.